Welcome back to Glow with Lola, the show where we talk about inner glow, healing, and the messy middle of becoming who you actually are. I'm your host, Lola, and if you were here a few months back, you heard my gut health episode where I walked you through my stool analysis and everything that we uncovered. Today's the follow up you've been all asking for. What actually happened when I did my Candida cleanse, the die off effect, the meltdowns I had at the grocery stores, and yeah, the 22 pounds I did not expect to lose during my journey. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Candida overgrowth, what it actual is, and what symptoms you might be experienced that you are not putting enough spotlight or paying enough attention to. What my 23 weeks actually looked like and what I would do differently, whether with all the information that I know now, if anything would have changed from day one when I started. So let's get into it. What even Candida is. Candida is a yeast that naturally grows inside our bodies in small amounts. The problem starts when the overgrowth happens and it throws your microbiome out of balance. Consuming antibiotics, high sugar diet, refined carb diet, and any chronic stress hormonal shifts can also increase your Candida overgrowth in your body. Symptoms that people don't usually connect to a Candida overgrowth includes bloating, fatigue, sugar craving, experiencing brain fog, skin flare-ups, and mood swings. So spending lots of money on your cosmetics procedures or your skincare sometimes results in actually looking inwards into what you're consuming and reducing your bill because you looked inward instead of your outward. Keep in mind, this isn't a diagnosis that should replace a practitioner or a functional doctor. Testing still matters. Sharing my experience will always also give you an insight of how the Candida cleanse did look like, but you shouldn't be copy pasting this process or journey healing into yourself because you still need to do testing to make sure the supplements I've been taking is good for someone like you to take, because everybody is different. Even if you're the same height, the same skin tone, the same background, sharing the same genes will not result into equal outcomes like I had. We will do the same journey, we will follow the same protocol, but experience two different symptoms in the journey. So let's start with why I decided to do my whole Candida cleanse. I turned 27 in January, and I wanted to take testing to see how I can improve my body's health. So there were two testings on the discussion panel. One of them was to do a full body scan. There's a location in GTA where you walk in, you pay around $1,000. They do a full scan from your feet to your top of your head, and they see your body's function. The only issue with Toronto is, in Canada at least, the doctor cannot read you the results. Whereas in the States, if you go to, let's say, Florida and you do the same body scan, it will cost you a little bit more, but they're legally obligated to read the whole results without hiding or not disclosing the full picture in a sense. I had an appointment with my naturopath to just discuss my option. And one of the tests that she brought up was, what if we do a stool analysis? So the stool analysis, it's called GI 360. It can only be bought through a naturopath, through a practitioner. The way it works, you pay your practitioner, they ship you a package to your house, you take your tests, you ship it back. In this case, it was the States. It takes a couple of weeks. Your practitioner will get the results, and the doctor needs to go over your results and read it to you. So that was the plan for me. Now, a lot of followers did ask what was the reason behind the test to begin with, and the main reason was because I had colon cancer history through my mom, and I know her doctor at a time. It was a little bit too late into the game. They also offered to do a stool analysis for her. However, with cancer patients, we don't have time. That's the time works against you in this case. So we didn't have the time to complete the test, to wait for the results to come back. We needed to do something to act right away. So that plan did not work for her. So for me, it was just like another milestone to do some healing with myself by completing the test. Also, I was willing to spend money and stick to a protocol. So as soon as I turned 27, it was New Year's, New Me resolution. I wanted to invest in something that could help me take my body, my health, my wellness routine to the next level. The main issue I was dealing with at 27 was constant bloating. It was always difficult to have bowel movements, issues with food processing food. Every time I would eat a meal, I would constantly feel bloated. If it's a glass of wine, if it's eating out, even cooking meals at home, sometimes I would be so bloated to the point where it hurts. But once you experience the same pain over and over and over again, you start to think that it is normal, which is absolutely not normal. After completing the cleanse, let me tell you this. I also wanted, from a fitness perspective, I did have a personal trainer. We were working out. A lot of the workouts that I was completing, intense exercises, did not get me into the body image that I wanted to get. Because of how, I guess, the supplements were absorbing, how the nutrients were absorbing through my food. So that was another reason for me. And also to do some healing, knowing that you have histories. If you had a family member who had cancer, I think you either never want to talk about it again, or you take every step you can to make yourself healthier and better to not ever go down through that path again. Because the last thing we want to do is visit the hospital rooms, in my case. Another issue for me, I know in my diet, even though I was eating pretty decently, that's what I thought at least, not anymore. Sugar, the amount of sugar that is added everywhere was another issue for me. I didn't realize how much sugar we have in drinks and sauces and coffee. Like, sugar is added everywhere. And in this Candida protocol, the number one thing we had to control is how much sugar we're consuming so we can kill the Candida, any bacteria overgrowth, because it thrives on sugar. So my relationship with sugar also changed. Feeling bloated to the point where your abdominal hurts, you low-key experience cramping. That's the issue I had. It happened with almost every meal, consuming dairy, wine, eating out. The analysis, to give you a perspective, it cost $700, the stool analysis, and the supplements across 20 weeks came out to $1,800 Canadian. So I think if you told me not to do the stool analysis and not to take the supplements, just to stick to a diet, I wouldn't be as consistent and it wouldn't be as rewarding. I feel like the moment you put money behind something, your investment becomes 3 times higher because you already tied it to a financial aspect. So you will be more dedicated to finish it. That was my dedication. Once you put $1,800 on your supplements, you really want to make sure you stick to the diet. And the analysis, so a lot of you guys asked, what does the Candida, the GI stool analysis check? So it checks for any parasites. The biggest one is Salmonella and tapeworms. Checks for any big stomach viruses, any parasites. It doesn't check if you potentially have colon cancer, but it does have a markers to check for blood in your stool. If the markers are higher, there's higher chance that something bigger lives in your colon, such as potentially, God forbid, colon cancer, and also H. pylori, which is another big bug that can thrive in your colon. So that is what contains into your GI stool analysis. Would I ever do it again? I don't think so. Maybe 30 years down the road, but I feel like it's a test you do once. You keep the results and you modify your diet as you go. So if you think you're eating pretty clean, but something is still missing, or you feel like you figured out the whole wellness, but you don't have the body that you want, the workouts are not hitting, the hormones are all over the place, your skin is flaring, you're still experiencing bloating, I think this test, to do it as a one-time investment, is extremely important. Once I did my actual stool analysis test, it took about for 3 weeks for the results to come back. I had to schedule another appointment with my naturopath to review the results. So she didn't send me the results. She waited for me to schedule an appointment to review the report together. Then she shared the results with me. It's a 16-page report that covers literally everything that lives in your gut health. The main issues that we found in my analysis was the fact that my body was not digesting any carbohydrates, meaning every time I had carbs, bread, pasta, rice, I would feed the bacteria. I would not get any nutrients and my microbiome would not break the carbohydrates. So that was the biggest thing that we had to fix. And a lot of times I would feel like when I'm eating French fries, I would eat it and it would just follow through my colon. But no, I didn't feel satisfied. Like it went in, but it didn't satisfy me to my fullness of potential being full from the food. So that was my reddest flag from the beginning. We also noticed that I have a high gut inflammation in my stomach. Also keep in mind, it's called Candida protocol, but in my test results, it showed that I do not have any Candida overgrowth. The reason why we follow the same diet is, first of all, to fix my microbiome skews. So when you get the report, there's multiple skews that moves. The goal is for the skews to be right in the middle and not left, right, because then that means your microbiome is not healthy and there's no flow in your gut health and it's all over the place. So you want to have a healthy gut health in order for your food, your supplements to flow and work for your body instead of against your body. So a lot of times I see a lot of females consuming probiotics when you have a lot of bad bacteria and you take probiotics, you're feeding both the good and bad. So first you want to kill all the bad before you start healing and feeding the good. So that's something to keep in mind. Some things that look good might actually do more harm than vice versa. So it's really important to do testing, to sit with a practitioner. I'm not a big fan of the medical system in Canada. I prefer private health rather than going to a family doctor because sometimes I feel like they have no idea what they're talking about. They send you from one place to another. And the standard for North America, what's for them looks okay in Europe is actually you're very deficient, like our vitamin D markers. The dosage that we should be consuming here is 3 times higher than in Europe. So things to keep in mind when you are doing the testing. Now, prepping. So once we finished the test results, I got my results back showing inflammation, showing my unbalanced microbiome, not processing carbohydrates, having an overgrowth of bad bacteria. We had to order, so I got a stack of supplements to order, and then I had to prep my kitchen for the diet. So nothing in the pantry. Edward was suffering in this case too because I had to take out all the snacks because just the fact that he opened a bag of chips, I could inhale all the saltness and the spices and the oil. It was really difficult, especially with gummy bears. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed. Every time he opened a bag, I could inhale the gummy flavor, like I'm eating it myself, but I wasn't eating. That's how hard it was to give up and disconnect from sugar. Now, aside from ordering the supplement stack, so what included in the supplements, and I want you to keep in mind, you're not going to open your supplement app and you're going to order the same. Please don't do that. It's just to give you an idea of what it consists because you still need to do the testing to see what your body actually needs. So we had to order, it's called Candibactin, AR and BR. It kills the bacteria inside of you. I also consumed grapefruit seed extract with wormwood, caprylic acid, and berberian. So these 5 actually, I had to consume for the past 8 weeks to actually kill the bacteria. To support my liver, so every time you kill something, it flashes through your liver. So my liver was working 3 times harder during this cleanse. So I had to take a liver detox called GI detox, supported with omega-6, very fatty omega-6 pills that came from sardines, anchovies, and salmon. It's a very high omega acids, very clean. And the main thing the diet consists was of sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, no alcohol, no eating out. And the main carbs for me was sweet potato, buckwheat, and almond flour tortillas by a company called Sietz, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But that's the only bread I could consume that she actually approved of. So shopping in the stores was hard. I had to go based on a list, and you most of the time you eat the same food over and over and over again. Now, let's talk about the real challenges that I experienced during this cleanse. So having foods that you can eat is great, but putting it into a meal plan that you can follow. So before my cleanse, it consisted of a lot of snacking, a lot of like Doritos, a lot of chips here and there. Even though I was following a clean diet, in my opinion, there was a lot of improvement to be made. So the goal is when we eat, you want to drop the snacking. You want to have 3 proper meals and cut the snacking. You shouldn't be snacking if you're getting enough nutrients per meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your body will not crave additional top up in a sense. So this was a clear sign for me that, hey girl, we're not eating properly. You're consuming a lot of snacks. We got to cut it. So the hardest thing is snacking. In a lot of diets, when I followed with a personal trainer, the max dosage of avocado I could have was half an avocado per day because it's very fatty. But when you remove carbohydrates, rice, pasta, bread, you need to fill it with something else. So this diet is also known as a keto diet because you substitute a lot of your carbohydrates to fats because your body will start using fat as a source of energy. So instead of eating half avocado, I was eating 1.5. Instead of eating 2 eggs, I had to dose it up to 3 eggs, turkey bacon. I was not measuring my oil consumption because in my diet, I used to do 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. When I was cooking, I was adding flavors because I was eating a lot of leafy greens. So I was not worried about adding a little bit extra avocado oil in my salad because I know I'm not getting the carbohydrates. So I need the fats to substitute. My snacking consists of almonds, guac, and almond flour tortilla was my rescue. And the only sugar I was allowed is berries, 1 serving per day. So blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries. And there was a brand of chocolate called Choco. There's 3 grams of sugar in it. And I was allowed to have 1 serving per day. I still eat that Choco chocolate. It's the best thing. I think it's very sweet now, but before it was really hard because you were craving sugar. Another challenge I did experience during the cleanse was eating out. So if you are a woman in a very demanding job or industry, ordering in is your pleasure. And when you can't order in, it becomes very frustrating because your day is what you're going to eat next. So if you can't order and you can't lay on the couch, you need to make sure you have enough energy to get up, to throw chicken, fish, steak, whatever it is that you're going to cook. And you have to make sure it will satisfy you because you don't have, the snacking is out of the equation and you cannot order in. It was extremely hard in Canada, or especially where I live. There is no proper healthy restaurants that you can order. If you're in downtown Toronto, it's a little bit easier. You have places like Impact Kitchen where they don't have seed oils. It's grass-fed, organic, chicken, free range, grass-fed produce, where a lot of places here locally are not offering the same healthy food. So it was really extremely hard. Uber Eats was completely deleted off my phone because it was not helping me. I did not consume any alcohol in my 8-week protocol, and then I'm still not consuming it. It's been almost 40 weeks since I finished my cleanse, since the cleanse and the end of the cleanse, and I still didn't consume. I'm not back to consuming the same alcohol consumption that I used to do. I feel like now drinking a glass of wine destroys me completely, like I had a bottle of vodka. So for me, it's like, let's give the glass, because it's the same effect as drinking a bottle of vodka when I was in my 19s, early 20s. So the challenge, I did cover a little bit of my challenges, but once we actually started my cleanse, so I want you to keep in mind, when I did my appointment with my naturopath, many of you know her. It's, I'm not going to say her name, but if you reach out and I share the name, you probably recognize her. She told me that the cleanse is going to be 8 weeks. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I am giving up sugar, alcohol, gluten, dairy, processed foods for 8 weeks. It actually turned out to be 23. If somebody came to me from the beginning and said, hey, it's going to be 23 weeks because your killing phase is 8 weeks, but then your healing phase is another 8 weeks, I would probably say no because it was already hard to commit to 8 weeks. So maybe it's good that she didn't tell me it's going to be the whole 23 weeks, but it's you need to keep in mind that if you do decide to do this diet, you are committing for a very long term. So not only the killing phase was 8 weeks, the healing phase was another 8 weeks to reestablish your gut flora. So after you destroyed everything, you need to restore your gut flora. It takes 6 to 9 months to restore your healthy, good bacteria and have a proper colon where it can break food properly and make sure it absorbs nutrients. So I'm still taking enzymes to help the absorption and help the digestive aspect, but it takes time to restore it, okay? Week 1 of the cleanse, it was easy peasy. At first, I was like, okay, I survived week 1. Energy levels did drop a lot. So if I was working out 3 to 4 times a week, playing volleyball, my training sessions were cut in half. I couldn't lift heavy. It was very easy flow because you don't have the carbs. And it takes time, even when you start keto, it takes time for your body to have that change between, okay, we're using carbohydrates as your main source of energy to let's switch to fats and use fats as your main source of energy. So that whole switch made me cut my training sessions into half. Majority of the time I was extremely tired. Week 2 is when shit really went down for me. As women, we tend to keep a lot of stuff to ourselves. So let's say you go through something. In my case, I'll give this as an example, grief. When you go through grief, some things do come out. You're able to find the words to express it, but other things you don't have the words to express and you keep things into your stomach. So you bottle things up inside of you. The longer you keep stuff inside of you, at some moment in life, it will come out and burst like a bubble. So when I did the cleanse, I didn't realize that the liver, which was working 3 times harder because we were killing so much, the liver is the most emotional organ that we have in our body in the Chinese medicine. So once you touch the liver, be ready to go through an emotional roller coaster. So in midweek 2, in the middle of week 2, I called my naturopath. I emailed her at 9 p.m. saying, hey, I'm having a really hard time. I don't know what is happening with me. I feel emotionally overwhelmed. I'm not even hungry. I'm just emotionally drowning. She called me literally 5 minutes later and she's like, hey, do you have a therapist? I was like, yes, I do. She's like, when was the last time you've seen her? And I was like, oh, a couple of months ago. She's like, okay, while you're going through the cleanse, make sure you schedule multiple sessions because you will be going through waves of healing. So not only we're killing, but you're also going to emotionally heal yourself because of everything that you have stored in your stomach. Now, I don't know if you notice, ladies, when we are scared, we're in fear, when something bad happened or exciting, that butterfly effect, you always feel it in your stomach. If you're in danger, if you are going through an interview that you've been preparing really hard, you always feel it in your stomach. So that is just another example of how much we actually store. Like your digestive system is the solar system of your body. If things are bad there, it's going to be bad everywhere. So you really need to take time and heal it to the fullest. So I did have quite a few therapeutic sessions with my therapist and a lot of journaling. So I would journal here and there. I wasn't as committed. I would journal only when my thoughts cannot keep up with my brain. But with the Candida cleanse, I was journaling 3 times a day because the emotions were just overflowing. Things I don't want to share too much here because I think it's very personal, but I just want you to keep in mind, once you start healing your gut, you're not just going to heal your gut, you're going to heal some traumas in you. And a lot of thinking and processing that you've done in your brain, they're going to come out. So make sure you are ready for the emotional aspect as much as you're ready to follow a diet, because it's going to be very hard. The therapist did really help me. Um, what I really enjoyed in the diet is, from being constantly constipated, that's the main issue we were going into this cleanse and the diet. I was constantly flashing. So because the liver was working extra hard, we had to make sure I was drinking tons of water. I have bowel movements every single day, multiple times, and your body odor changes a lot too. So I know in my early teens, I grew up eating McDonald's and Taco Bell. Today, I'm not stepping near McDonald's and Taco Bell, but in high school, lunchtime comes, we didn't pack lunch. We didn't make sandwiches at home. Your mom or dad would give you $5, $10, which was enough back then. And you would order Taco Bell for lunch and probably have it for dinner or go to McDonald's. So my diet was consistent of that. Then you add a layer of grief, a lot of stress, a lot of balancing adulthood, financial issues, raising a child. It was a lot of stress that my body went through since the moment I was born to the age of 27. So I knew the cleanse wasn't just, we're not cleansing a 1 year issues with food. We're cleansing 27 years of decisions, 27 years of diet, 27 years of whatever drinking or any alcohol or any, fun. We all have an era of partying scenes in Toronto. So you try a little bit of everything. So we're clearing a lot of things that were stuck in the pipeline. We're not just clearing whatever I ate in the last year. There's a lot of trauma and issues in there. So be ready for the challenges you're going to face emotionally. In the middle of my cleanse, I also experienced a skin rush. If you follow me on Instagram, Glow with Lola, or TikTok, you've seen me post a video. So the moment I gave up sugar, week 4, I got a really bad skin reaction. I was having a histamine reaction. So it's the way my naturopath described it was as a die-off effect. So the moment we stop consuming, feeding the bacteria was acting off. So, and she also said, if it comes to the surface of your skin, that means we're triggering it and we're starting to kill it. So I had very bad skin rashes to the point where my whole back will be covered in red. It would go to my skin. I would be extremely itchy. I had to take allergens for almost 4 weeks just to help calm down the skin reaction. It was really bad. So ladies that experience eczema, if you experience eczema, one of the side effects could be what type of bacteria is living in your gut health. So you want to make sure you really eat properly or do a proper cleanse to help heal your eczema. Any skin rashes that come into the surface. About week 5 into my cleanse, I think it was week 4 or 5, can't remember exactly. Toronto was really taking all my oxygen out. It was very miserable. It was still snowing, cold. It wasn't fun to be here, especially when you're miserable inside of you while you're trying to heal and consuming the diet that you're consuming with no alcohol. Going out with friends was extremely hard because the diet had to constantly be accommodated. I know I work in a finance aspect, and a lot of times I still had to take my clients for lunches and dinners. So for me, it was such a big struggle because every restaurant I made a reservation to, I had to call in advance to see if they can accommodate no sauce, no dressing, no sugars, remove this. It was all constantly accommodating what I'm going to eat. So every plate that I would order, there was 5 modifications to be made. So it was a lot of, you guys don't realize how much is being added everywhere that we cannot consume. You go to Italian restaurant, you have Parmesan, you have vinegar, you have sugars, you have sometimes if you take pasta or if you take mussels, they cook it in wine. So you have to remove the wine. If they put butter, you got to remove the butter because the butter has dairy. So there's a lot of thought and energy went into this cleanse. By week 4, I was like, okay, I had enough. I need to go somewhere warm. So we booked a trip to Florida. Edward and I went on a little vacation. And the goal was to be by the water, pool, tanning. I wanted to rent a proper Airbnb where I could have a kitchen to cook because I was still it was still hard for me to go eating out, even though Florida is extremely accommodating. People are obsessed with wellness there. So when you go in there, there's tons of food to eat. They don't use seed oils. They're very high protein, leafy greens almost everywhere. So it's easier. It's harder to find a junk place, and it's easier to find something healthy. In Canada, it's vice versa. Harder to find proper, clean restaurant, but you have Tim Hortons, McDonald's, and Subway almost every corner. So we went to Florida. I packed all my supplements. I brought my tortillas with me. I brought my proper chocolate. I even packed nut butter. All my healthy fats came with me. And then we went grocery shopping there, and I stayed in Florida consuming zero alcohol. And I still went out to parties, and I went out to dinners, and I met amazing people in Florida. And I did it all sober. And I honestly have to say it was the best experience of my life. And every time I kept saying that, oh, sir, I'm not drinking, or I can't eat this, this question came up. Oh, why are you not drinking alcohol? So I started sharing that I'm on a Candida cleanse, and you see so much respect in people's eyes, seeing how dedicated you are to your process and to becoming healthier. And everybody were extremely curious about the diet, and you can see that they wanted to learn more and implement it into their life too. Because whether you like it or not, I always say people that work out and take care of themselves, they appear in public differently. And when you say no, it's not because you're not cool, because you have better values for yourself. You know exactly what you're doing, and people just respect it more. So for me, doing a sober trip, I literally remembered everything, all the conversations, all the people I met. Florida, Miami is known for drinking and going out and meeting people and partying till midnight and till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. If you go to Space Club, you're getting home at 12 p.m. But I did it completely sober. I enjoyed every experience. I felt like I was present, and it was such a good boost of energy and recovery. The sunshine was there, the food was there, the water, the swimming in the pool, going into the ocean was amazing for me. Highly recommend. So it was a good boost of energy. So I know I talked about the experience of a skin rash when I did my Candida cleanse, but I also have to mention that you experience you're very fatigued in your process. You also have headaches and brain fog. But middle of my cleanse, so by week 5, all of it disappeared, and I felt extra alert. I was laser focused at work. My consumption to information was sharper. My energy levels throughout the day remained the same. I met with a friend actually yesterday, and she said that, during lunchtime, she avoids carbs because she has energy crashes. So this is another example why your body is probably not tolerating carbs as you should. And when we get a plate in front of us, we are not looking at the plate properly. If you go through fatigue, brain fog, skin rashes, digestion issues, bloating, experiencing cramps not on your menstrual cycle, it's another sign for you to look internally. It's funny. So when I did the cleanse, my friend and I, we signed up to do 5-kilometer run and then 10-kilometer run. I have to tell you, it was a big challenge for me, because if you are a runner, you know that your main source of energy comes from either a banana or a toast with honey. It's clean carbohydrate. It spikes your glucose. When you start the run, your body uses that glucose. So for me, I couldn't consume banana, I couldn't consume bread, and I couldn't consume honey. So I had to consume sweet potato, or I had to consume almond flour tortilla, or buckwheat before my run to help my glucose spike and maintain that energy level. So that was another extremely challenging aspect of the cleanse that I actually faced. So with all the challenges that I experienced, there's amazing wins that I think deserve the spotlight in this podcast episode. I did send an email to my naturopath thanking her for the journey and thanking her for putting me into it, because it's extremely hard to think that for 27 years you look at a plate at a certain way, and my whole diet completely changed after doing the cleanse. So I'll give you an example. If you have PCOS or endometriosis like I do, for us, when we consume a cake, if you eat date, it has the same like spike insulin spike effect as you would have with eating a slice of cake. Okay, so just because it's natural sugar doesn't mean your body will not like your insulin will not spike as it would spike from a piece of cake. Looking at a plate, I focused a lot on carbs. I thought that if I'll eat rice after a heavy lifting session, my energy levels will restore faster with rice or pasta. After the Candida cleanse, I realized that beets are also carbohydrates, which I was allowed to eat in my diet. And my plate had to consist of leafy greens. A lot of times we're extremely lazy. We eat only cucumber and tomatoes because it's easier to wash and cut and you call it a day. But in the diet, you really had to diversify your veggies. So you had to eat asparagus and cauliflower and spinach and arugula and green onions and parsley. So you constantly had to add lots of veggies. So when I went grocery shopping, I bought 3 carts of eggs. I bought tons of veggies and I bought lots of protein. And honestly, after the diet, food is so much simpler. So I think before I was overcomplicating what I will cook, but today I realized taking a piece of salmon or a fish or chicken, simple seasoning, lemon, salt, pepper, some garlic, if you want some thyme, throw it into the air fryer, call it a day. You don't need to complicate your diet. You throw in, you can fry some asparagus, you can cook some spinach if you don't want to eat it raw, the salad. So in the diet too, you can't eat raw veggies. It has to be steamed or cooked. So I had to do bulk of peppers with other veggies and cook it in the air fryer because the digestion is extremely slow and works really hard because we're killing everything. So you want to make sure you're easy on your digestion. I don't know how to cook soups. I was very lazy to buy soups, but yeah, so it was consistently of not dry, but like more veggies, protein, fats. So my relationship to food changed a lot. It was way simpler. And even now that I finished my cleanse, I still follow the same diet. I didn't reintroduce pasta yet. I don't know if I want to. Maybe if I'm in Italy, I will take pasta there, but I don't think I will reintroduce pasta here in Canada. I think sweet potato and buckwheat satisfy my carbohydrates need. The only thing I did reintroduce were sourdough bread. It's really nice piece of toast in the morning. I really craved it, and especially with butter. I know before we used to like even now I see a lot of influencers who are into wellness and dieting and fitness, and they say, oh, avoid butter. But actually in the morning, cooking your 3 eggs in butter is extremely healthy for your body. It maintains your cortisol levels in the morning, so there's no spike. It keeps you fuller longer. Yes, there is fats, but there is some good fats that we should consume and there is some bad fats. So you need to know which one is which. Let's talk about the wins of this cleanse. So first of all, glow up. The skin really, really cleared out. If you followed me before, you know I had skin flare-ups. I spent a lot of money on some estheticians who sold me, honestly, like skincare supplies for $700 who did nothing for my skin. I still go on every 2 months for a treatment just to do like simple cleaning, get all the blackheads out so I'm not touching it. But the glow truly starts from within. And I have men, literally, not even women, men compliment how glowy the skin is. So for me, that was the biggest win. Also, digesting carbs, I don't feel bloated. So that's the biggest, I think the biggest win for me is if I eat sourdough bread or a proper clean pizza, I eat pizza if it's unbleached flour, I get it from special occasions, I don't feel bloated. So I don't have that pain. My stomach does not go out. It stays intact in place. So I think that's the biggest win for me. Mental clarity, no brain fog, no headaches, and I have bowel movement on a regular day. So I think that's my my biggest win out of this diet. Also, on a spiritual, emotional aspect, I feel like not only I lost 22 pounds, but I feel like 100 pounds of emotions were lifted too, from healing and dealing with trauma and processing your thoughts and putting it on a piece of paper. And another thing that it really opened up in me is my inner child. I am more free to try experiencing hobbies. So have time, like I don't know if you guys know it, but I did talk about it on my stories that I signed up to bachata and salsa classes. I play volleyball. I joined a run club. So there is more room for me where I feel like before my cleanse, it was very follow, like live by the book and do things as a robot and what people will think of you. Like I did a walking and heal session to bring my confidence up, and I talked to someone, and he was like, "Oh, at first I was like, what is she doing?" So, but then he's like, "Oh, but I'm so happy that you're doing it. Good for you." And I'm like, "Okay, first you judge me for what I do, but then you say good for you for doing it." So you really need to start living your life as you want to live your life and have the confidence to leave the comfort zone. Because if you live in your comfort zone, it's you might as well just go to the grave. If you're comfortable in your life, that means you're not pursuing anything meaningful and you're not living to the fullest. So that's my biggest win from this cleanse. I also from working out perspective, I have energy to do 3 lifting sessions. I have energy to go to 3 volleyball sessions. I have energy to run. I have energy. I wake up at the same time every single morning with clear mind. And I think the tips and the relationship that you develop with your diet, with food during this cleanse is absolutely phenomenal because you start appreciate protein more. You appreciate your fiber, you appreciate your leafy greens, and you appreciate how food really should taste. A lot of the food that we buy outside in restaurants is covered by dressings, spices, sugars, a lot of it. So if you remove the dressing on top of it, you taste how the food actually is tasting, and a lot of times it's less flavorful because either it's not fresh or it's been extremely processed. So I appreciate just a simple steak with salt, butter, and thyme, or just a simple piece of fish with not extra seasoning. Simple is the way to go in life, in my opinion. The question I get asked most often is, would I do it again? And I would absolutely do this again. I think this cleanse is my highlight of, I know we're mid-year, it's been 6 months into the year, almost 7. And I think this Candida cleanse is the highlight of my year. I would definitely do it again. I would not change anything, even though it was frustrating. I know, like, I don't know what stage you are in your life, but I'm in the stage of my life where you process a lot of things on your own. Like it's less of let me go get an advice. It becomes more, okay, this is your journey. This is the shit you're going through. What would you do? So it's a lot of like doing things on your own. And I'm the type of person before I would go for I would go to someone for advice, at least to 5 different people until I hear what I want to hear. And then I would action. Now, as a 27-year-old turning 28 in January, I make decisions on my own. I have more confidence. I have the mental clarity. I have the diet. And I honestly think when your body and how you look is the outfit. I can wear a simple white tank top and white jeans and look better than someone who is wearing $1,000 outfit, because your body and how you look is the best business card. And that's why I think it's the best investment that I've done in 2026. And that's what I will remember out of this year. Even though I have amazing things, I have few trips coming up that I'm extremely excited, but I know I'm coming into this trip feeling my best, looking my best. We have a summer trip coming up with Edward, and I know that I'm not even thinking to consume alcohol to have fun. I want to have the same sober experience that I had in Miami, being present, being able to listen, enjoying, just being light is exactly what the Candida cleanse gave me. Some practical tips I want to give my listeners coming out of this podcast. So Sugars. So now that I finished my cleanse, I'm leaning towards natural sugars. So nothing processed. Yes, I think yesterday we had my friend, we went over to someone's house and there was a cake that was bought and it was extremely processed, whipped cream, crusting, like Sobeys bought cake. And I didn't even have I didn't have the craving to let me have a piece of cake. My friend also put some cherries on the table and the cherries were super delicious, super sweet, killed my sugar craving, and I didn't need more. I didn't need that processed sugar craving. So the relationship to processed sugar completely changes. That is my tip to you. I want you to pay attention to how much sugar you are consuming. If it's in your coffee, in your milk. So in Canada, unfortunately, when you go to a coffee shop and you get a latte, whatever, even if you take almond milk, okay, for example, almond milk has 13 grams of sugar per 1 cup of coffee. We went to a spa with my friend during my cleanse, and there were two elderly ladies. They both got matcha and they got cake and they got some fruits. And I was like, I looked at the whole scene from the side. I'm like, holy shit, she's consuming around 50 grams of sugar just for her snack throughout the day. Do you know how much 50 grams of sugar is? When you do your diet, if you go through the Candida cleanse, you are allowed to consume maximum of maybe 10 grams of sugar per day. So 50 grams from just like a whole, I don't know what she had for breakfast or what she's going to have for dinner, but it's extremely high. If you remove sugar out of the equation, your skin will completely change. You will look younger. Your mental clarity will change. Your inflammation markers will change too. If you search sugar-free dessert or people that live sugar-free, you notice drastically how their skin, their digestion extremely changes just from removing sugar out of your diet. Also, no refined carbs. So it is a little bit, some say harder, but if you remove pasta, rice, like I know some moms actually reached out to me. They wanted to lose some weight after, giving birth to children. And they asked me what they should do if they want to follow the same diet, but not take the supplement aspect. And I told her, okay, remove your potatoes, remove your rice, just consume sweet potato, just eat buckwheat, and opt out to anything almond flour. So you can buy almond flour and you can make your own bagels, your own bread, your own wraps, or you can buy wraps if you're lazy like me. But almond flour is, first of all, super rich, super healthy, high in protein. I was shocked how much protein 1 cup of almond flour actually has. So removing processed refined carbs, it actually will help you cut a lot of your inflammation and body weight. Also, non-starchy vegetables and measuring how much protein you eat. A lot of ladies eat 2 eggs for breakfast. 2 eggs is not enough. 2 eggs is 12 grams of protein. We should be consuming at least 25 to 30 if you're working out. So you're not even near half your protein intake. So if you eat 2 eggs and have some vegetables and, I don't know, a rice cake or a piece of bread, your protein intake is extremely low. So increasing it to at least 3 eggs, adding some egg whites or turkey bacon or maybe some chicken sausages or even almond flour tortilla has 5 grams of protein in it. So a piece of salmon, smoked salmon can help too. Measuring your protein is extremely important too, because that's how you'll get leaner. And you should stop measuring your calories. That's another thing. When I was doing my diet, I lost 22 pounds and I don't think I was consuming 1,800 calories a day. I think I was still consuming way more because just avocado alone has quite a few calories in it. But eating more doesn't mean gaining more. Actually, could be eating more equals losing more because you're actually satisfying your body with nutrients, with calories, with protein that it needs. So if you think that, oh, let me eat less, does not equal more. It will actually stress your body more. Your cortisol levels will increase and your body will be hungry. Once your body is hungry, it will go into a stress mode and it will activate your flight or fight mode and it will make you lose weight slower, if not gain weight. So you need to be careful. A lot of myths are out there saying, oh, if you eat less, you're gonna lose more, is extremely wrong. Make sure your diet is simple, but filled with proper nutrients. Another thing, anyone who I know, few ladies, few listeners who are listening, they have a Whoop watch. I also noticed if I don't consume enough fiber, I will have a shitty recovery score, no matter how good I ate throughout the day. Fiber is very important, and then it's funny because in my healing phase, my naturopath did not prescribe me a fiber powder. She said that a lot of powders in the market, even the cleanest one, contains a lot of ingredients that we shouldn't be consuming. She just said, here's psyllium husk, here is chia seeds, and here is flax seeds. Rotate between the two on a daily basis, and it will be enough fiber for you. So sometimes if you follow, you see that I make a lot of desserts that contain fiber because it's just easier to eat. Banana bread, orange bread, or you could do a carrot cake in a healthier version. So I add 3 tablespoons of fiber, or you can add it into your eggs. You can sprinkle it on top of your salads. You can take just a cup of water, put fiber, and just drink it. That's what I do with psyllium husk. It's really important to your recovery and to how satisfied and bowel movement you will experience that day. So make sure you pay attention to your fiber and you are not running away from fruits. Fruits like strawberries. Me and my friend did this. She gave me this advice. She's like, "Hey Lola, it's funny I'm telling you this, but my recovery," she said the day before. So in Ontario, as you guys know, Ontario is there's a lot of farms and lands here, and we do grow a lot of vegetables and fruits here in Canada. So when it's the season, it tastes amazing. And there's a lot of growing strawberries right now coming from Quebec. And she said that she bought a bag of strawberries and she had the whole container at night after her dinner. She went to bed and she woke up with 98% recovery score. I was like, okay, this is wild. Because I know when I was training out with a trainer before, I really had to watch my sugar intake and my fruit intake. And I was like, okay, let me try this as well. I've been going, if you have a Whoop, you know there's categories. You have red, yellow, green. So my recovery was always in the yellow zone. That's how I was not recovering well from my workouts. And then I started doing her method. I started eating fruit before bedtime. So it would be watermelon, strawberries, any berries. I have an obsession with oranges right now. So I'm eating oranges. And I could tell that one full orange or one bag of strawberries really spikes your recovery score because your body is getting the nutrients. So you can eat as much fruits as you want, versatile it, introduce different foods in it, but cutting out the bad sugar will show the results. So you shouldn't be afraid of natural sugar as much as you should be afraid of processed sugar. Same with honey. So I see girls drink coconut water. I don't know if you've seen this trend where they take espresso, top up Americano, they add coconut water, and then they top up with milk. So make sure you're not drinking your coffee on an empty stomach because coconut water is amazing, super dense, super nutrient, high in hydration and electrolytes. But if you have PCOS or endometriosis, for you, coconut water, honey, a date is like eating a piece of cake to your body. So make sure you're eating it after a meal or you're balancing it with something fatty. Almond, nut butter. That's why you see a lot of those desserts contain, they'll take a date and then they'll put chocolate or dark chocolate or almond butter because that fattiness and the sugar, it helps your insulin stay the same level and not spike it. So that's what you want to keep in mind. Also, lifestyle. It completely changes your lifestyle from Candida perspective. So because you are extremely tired, you really pay closer attention to your sleep. Sleep in wellness is super underestimated, and people that start paying attention to their sleep realize how hard it is to get a proper sleep. So the goal is to go to bed before 11 p.m. and wake up at the same time, weekends and weekdays. So if your work, I don't know what time you go to work, but I wake up at 8:30 a.m. every single day, work day and weekend. So you want to make sure your schedule is around the same because then it will help you feel optimal performance. It will help your digestion system rest properly at night. And you don't want to go to bed after 11 p.m. because that's when you are interfering with your body's natural cleanse time. So I made a post about it earlier. Between 11 to 1 or 2 a.m., your gallbladder is cleansing, then your liver is cleansing, then your lungs are cleansing, and then between, I think it's 5 to 7 a.m., your large intestine is cleansing itself naturally. So when you go to bed at 1 a.m. on the weekend, you're interfering with your natural body clock. So your recovery, your performance, and your digestion system is not going to be the same. It's really hard. I know I have some friends who are nurses. Because I'm not in the field, I don't know what advice to give you. But if you're someone who works a daytime job, you want to pay attention to what time you go to sleep. You want to pay attention to how much fiber you're consuming, what type of sugar. If you're consuming sugar, not on an empty stomach, opt out to natural sugar. Trust me, it has the same sweetness as a cake or donut has. Then like you can do strawberry covered in chocolate instead of a piece of cake. So keep that in mind as well. If there's one thing I want you to take out of this episode is your body has been trying to tell you something. It always tells you something. It's our job to listen. And with the society and the day that we live in, we are taught to not pay attention and think that it is normal, which is not. And one thing I did realize is if you have a headache and you pop an Advil and the pain goes away in 4 hours, someone who's done a gut cleanse, it takes up to 9 months to restore your entire functional system in you. So why do you think that popping an antibiotic or taking an Advil is a cure? Healing takes time. It's not linear. There are side effects that may come up that you are not even aware of. Be patient with yourself. Listen to your body and know that it takes time. I don't want you to get to the point where you are sick and clock is ticking against you. While you are healthy, dig in and cure what you can. If you have cramps in you, you want to dive into your menstrual cycle and your hormones. If you have issues with your digestive, while you have time and it's not serious, take the time, practice, get the testing done, shift your diet, change your diet, tweak your lifestyle, and see what actually works for you. Because you will be surprised how small changes can make a really big difference to you. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. We are available on any platform that you can think of, and it's always the same name, Glow with Lola. We love you, and we hope you are doing well and in your best health.